Let's see. Welcome everybody. Hope you're doing well. It's the Man Utd stream, and this is an update show for the Takeover news. Yes, hope you're doing well. Hope you've joined us, and you're hopefully in good health, and you're happy, and you're looking forward to an update show on the Takeover. Yes, since the win against Liverpool on the weekend, everyone's some people are still interested in the Takeover, some people are not, but we have got an update on the Takeover at United. Is this serious? Is it going to happen? Is it not? There's so many question marks. Number one, guys, before we kick off today's show, please tell me if you can hear me properly and you can see me properly. Okay, that's the number one priority I have. I don't want to go live and then ramble on for about 10-20 minutes and then be told there's something wrong with your mic or something. So if anyone who's already tuned in, can you just drop a comment just simply saying, give me a thumbs up saying yes, you're all well and clear, and we can then kick off into talking about Takeover updates, because there's some important updates today. There's some important updates we have on the Takeover at United, the UAE investment group. There's been some rumours that were swirling around before the Liverpool game during the international break about a possible takeover by a group of investors out in the UAE. We need to now discuss whether that's still happening, whether it's gone quiet, what's happening, who's involved. Okay, Nabil, thank you very much for that. Thank you. Appreciate that everything is okay. So that's someone. Those who are tuning in, guys, make sure you hit the like button on the video. And if you're not a subscriber, hit that subscribe button so you can keep up to date with all the Manchester United news and more from one single daily dose. You might not be a Man United fan, but you're more than welcome to subscribe as well, because we generally talk about football and everything to do with football, Premier League, European football and everything else. So anyway, I don't want to ramble on. I want to keep this as short as possible. I'm hoping about 30 minutes, if not less, because I want to keep this show, to the point. To the point. I don't care about having lots of viewers just joining in, and you generally do that when you have a long stream for about an hour or two. You can kind of build up the viewership, and lots more people can join. But hopefully, people can catch up later on in the show, so they can tune in afterwards once the stream's done. They can still click on the video, and it's still not too long, and they can still watch and find out about the update. Because I know many people have been messaging saying, look, what's going on with this takeover? What's happening? Because you are true Man United fans. That's what those who are interested in the takeover are proper Man United fans, because they know that they need to see the back of the Glazers for this club to properly succeed and to go on and become a giant of a club that they were once, and go and start winning the big trophies. I'm talking about the Premier League and the Champions League, and we're not going to be able to do that if we do not get proper investment and things sorted out, and we do not clear our debt, because we don't know if things could change. What if suddenly the Premier League or someone else announces that, look, you can't go and buy any player if you've got outstanding debt, and PSR rules could change. Anyway, let's jump straight into today's show. So, recapping for those of you who might not have already known, about a week or so ago, we got one gentleman out in Saudi Arabia who's involved in a lot of sports activities out there, essentially runs everything for the Saudis when it comes to sports stuff and events, and he's involved in boxing. He made a tweet and it went viral, and he said something like that United were on the verge of selling up to a new investment company, and the Glazers we're gonna see the back of the Glazers, and that's what he said. Many people were a bit shocked with that news. It came out of nowhere. There was no other mainstream media or journalist confirming this news, or even alluding to the fact that there's some possibility of negotiations taking place with the Glazers and stuff. However, in the next day or so, or a few more days, we got confirmation that there is something happening. And this came through mainstream media. And now we're actually getting the likes of Sky Sports confirming that something is happening. Sky Sports this morning confirmed. Was it this morning or yesterday? They confirmed that Eric Cantona was being brought in as an ambassador, as someone who's going to advise a UAE investment firm to take over at United. This is massive news. Now, last week we broke this news to you. We broke this news. That's why I put the Cantona top behind me, because I was buzzing. I was like, Cantona's one of my favourite players, and if he's going to be involved in any kind of takeover, that is great news. Great news. An iconic player for United. If those of you who can remember him being at United, what a player he was. I mean, and anyone who's not watched Cantona ever play, you need to go after this stream, after you've subscribed to this channel and everything, you need to go back and watch this guy play. Go and watch some highlights of Eric Cantona. The guy was an absolute legend. Absolute legend. And a complete maverick. When we're talking about maverick players, footballers, he was one of the best players to grace Old Trafford. Absolutely brilliant. I mean, makes me smile because I start thinking back at what he used to do, and he used to make it look so easy. Absolute legend. But anyway, Eric Cantona involved. So we last week discussed how Eric Cantona is the guy had the whole pitch to himself. Yeah, Martin, honestly, I love it. Anyone who, when I sit back and start talking about Eric Cantona, I can go on for days, because at the time when you're watching Cantona play, you're thinking, yeah, okay, this is brilliant football, but you don't know what he's actually doing, and only now do you appreciate it fully, what he did on the pitch. You look back now and you think, oh my God, he did that. He was doing them kind of moves on these players, making them look silly. He was making Premier League defences look silly. Anyway, so him being involved in a potential takeover is great news. Not only is it great news because he was a top footballer, but since he's left United, he's a straight talking type of guy. Does not mince his words, doesn't talk shit. He just comes out with it. If he calls it as it is. So if it's black, it's black. If it's white, it's white. He doesn't mess about. He doesn't start saying, oh, United, just because he wants to get favour with the current ownership, starts licking up to the ownership, or it's because you get that. You get that with some ex-players who start licking up to the ownership, and they just want favouritism in United, and maybe get some tickets, maybe get some time in at United. So they start licking up to the current regime, and we saw it with the Glazers. Let's be honest, we have to call it out like it is. There's lots of fan channels and lots of ex-players who started licking up to the Glazers and were like, yeah, the good owners, and they are investing. Absolute rubbish. Dave, thank you for joining us. Eric was the final piece of the jigsaw. Yeah, man. When he came in, I was very young. I must admit, I was very young. But when he came in, I can remember there being a huge hoo-ha, and everyone saying, "Look, Eric Cantona, fantastic player." And he was, for those who don't remember, the closest I can liken him to is CR7. When he brought in Cantona, he let Cantona get away with a lot of things behind the scenes, because he was that crazy of a player on the pitch that Fergie was like, look, he treated him differently to the rest of the players. And we heard later on, when we've heard like Rio Ferdinand and Rooney and all these lot coming out saying how Fergie treated Cristiano Ronaldo. Again, very similar, just kind of knew that he was different, let him get away with a few things that many other players didn't get away with. And yeah, look, he was sensational for United. And when I look back at Cantona, I think he was the one who triggered everything. I feel like he did anyway. Maybe I'm missing it, but I just feel like the moment he joined United, everything just switched on, and we just started winning and winning and winning, and we did not stop. We could not stop winning. It was just crazy. And maybe even if you ask Fergie, maybe if you go back and say, look, who was your most important signing at that time when things changed for you? He might even say, look, it was Cantona, because he brought something to the team. And that's why even when we hear Ruben Amorim saying, look, Matheus Cunha is a maverick, we need more mavericks in this team. Maybe that's what they are alluding to. He's alluding to, we need someone like Cantona, someone who doesn't give a shit, who who turns up to Anfield and doesn't care, does not respect the opposition. He doesn't care. He's like, look, I'm the one who's wearing the United kit. I'm playing for Man United, the biggest club in the world. I don't care where I'm going and who I'm playing against. I don't care whether you're current champions or you won last year. Do not give a shit. They just turn up and start playing like a club does, like Man United. So massive, massive heads up there. Anyway, guys, make sure you hit the like button on the video. Of course, make sure you subscribe if you're new to the channel. We give you all content concerning Man United, do watch-alongs and everything else. So make sure you hit the subscribe as well, especially if you're a Man United fan. If you're not, you're still welcome to subscribe. Anyway, let's get to the main crux of the story. Okay, Eric Cantona. Now, last week we revealed it. Ben Jacobs was the one who confirmed it. He said Eric Cantona has been approached by this UAE investment group. It's a group made up of several different companies. One company linked very closely to Sheikh Mansour and the current owner of Man City, and we'll discuss that in a minute. But let's just say there's a few problems in the works as well, because there's close links. Obviously, it's UAE, it's a tiny little place, and most of the billionaires are related. They all know each other, and of course, it's the royal family, so all the money flows from the royal family. The oil, the wealth, the billions of pounds that they have, they've got so much money that they don't know actually what to do with it. So buying United is not even an issue. The money is not even an issue. 5 billion is pocket change. It's not even pocket change. It's change that drops out of their pockets. They won't even notice it missing. That's how much 5 billion, it means nothing to them. Now, the first news was October, yesterday this was, yeah. So Sky News broke this news saying Eric Cantona. Let me bring it up on the screen, because I look at it and then I think I want you guys to see it as well, because that's... it just makes it a bit more interesting for you rather than just looking at my ugly face. Here you got Eric Cantona has been approached to be an ambassador by a consortium of investors from the UAE as part of the takeover bid, according to The Guardian. Now, I'm going to touch on The Guardian in a minute. I'll move over and discuss that as well. This is important. Number one, Sky News. They don't just report on anything. They report on things that are factually checked out. They actually have their sources. They go and confirm these things. For them to actually, number one, confirm Eric Cantona has been approached, but number two, confirm that there is indeed a consortium of investors from the UAE looking to make a takeover bid. Now, when we first broke this news about a week or two ago, and we were talking about Sheikh Al Turki, the guy from Saudi Arabia, the boxing mogul, who has brought this news, saying, he tweeted saying, this is there's a possible takeover on the horizon. Everyone thought, what's he talking about? There is no such thing. There's no takeover. There's nothing going on. And then Man United were approached. Man United denied it. They said there's nothing going on. Ineos were approached. They said they don't know anything about it. The Glazers were approached and they said nothing. The Glazers said nothing. That kind of give you a little bit of a clue. Abraham, welcome to the channel, mate. Big up Man United stream. Eric Cantona says he loves Manchester United and he loves Manchester United fans and Old Trafford. Yeah, man. Do you know what? The guy... Look, all Man United ex-legends, we've got to respect every single one of them, especially those who were here when we were winning things, right? They were here and they oversaw something that many football players ever in their career never see. They won back-to-back Premier Leagues, and I was watching the programme the other day where they were just going through how Fergie just won back-to-back Premier Leagues. He arrived here when Liverpool was sat on a pedestal with, I think it was, how many Premier League wins, 18 or 19, and he came and United were next, not even in comparison, couldn't even be compared in the same breath as Liverpool. But then he just simply took over, and having Cantona come in, knowing full well what he's seen at United, how he's been there through the glory days, it just fills you with a bit of confidence. And you also know that someone like Eric Cantona is someone who can actually advise properly. He's not going to pussyfoot around. He's not going to be like, oh, yeah, look, you pay me, I don't care, whatever happens to United. No, he's not one of those. He's not one of those who's going to just sell his soul for a bit of money. He's going to be the guy who's going to say, well, I don't give a shit whether you pay me millions. I'm still going to tell you what you need to do to put things right at United. You're not just simply going to come in there and do what the Glazers have done and just sit there and suck out any money that's coming out of United. What you're going to do is seriously put your money down, put your money where your mouth is, come in and clear everything. So thank you for that comment. Now, coming back to this consortium of investors, again, what I was saying was Sky Sports reporting this news on Eric Cantona being approached by the consortium, the UAE investment group. It adds more strength to what we've been discussing, because before this point, before I think yesterday, we were still look, Ben Jacobs actually was a turning point for me. I knew immediately Ben Jacobs, he is a mainstream media journalist and someone who's got his ear to the ground when it comes to stuff going on in the Middle East. There's still deadly silence from a lot of other mainstream journalists like the Fabrizio Romanos and David Ornsteins and people like that who break exclusive news. But there is a reason why there is deadly silence from them, because they've been burnt with Man United previously. If you remember back to when United were in talks with Sheikh Yassim and the Qataris and Jim Ratcliffe and what was going on, the Glazers did not let a peep out, and it was very difficult for the likes of Fabrizio Romano and others to give any update news, because the Glazers were very good at holding back all updates. Any takeover news, they never really brought out, and they never gave anything to the press. They never leaked anything. Nothing came out of the Glazer family, and that became a bit of an issue for mainstream media, because they were trying to get as much information as possible, but they never could. And then there was lots of other viewers and people getting upset saying, why are you not giving us any updates? But the problem was they couldn't get anything out of the Glazers, and the Glazers are very good at keeping everything stump. Now, the difference is, on this time round, is that we're actually getting information from the UAE side. That's who is giving all this information. The news initially got broken by a guy out in Saudi, someone who's actually got nothing to do with the UAE investment firm, but is in the know. He knows everything because he himself is part of a billion-pound industry. He is someone who's got billions of pounds to invest in sports, and he is someone who's obviously knows other billionaires who are looking to buy and invest in other clubs. Now, for him, he could quite easily come out and buy United. He's on the thumbnail, actually. And the reason why I keep on having him on the thumbnail is because he's the one who's still driving this story forward. In fact, yesterday, he put out another tweet about where Sheikh Yassim is, calling out Sheikh Yassim, saying, where are you, Sheikh Yassim? Where are you? ? I think that was just a bit of a banter between him and the Qataris. Now, many people get this a bit confused. Many people think that the Qataris and the UAE, Dubai lot and the Saudis all get along and they're all Arabs and they're all... no, they're not. They don't really actually get on with each other. There is a competitive edge with all of them. Then they all want to have their own components and sports ventures, and they all want to do well separately. There's no such thing. They're quite competitive. So if there's someone else out there in, say, UAE or Qatar doing well, Qatar with PSG, the UAE probably thinking, we want a club like Man City to go and win the UEFA Champions League. So they're probably not happy with the success that the Qataris are having with PSG. Now, Sheikh Mansour obviously is taking, he's in charge of everything to do with Man City. Now, coming back to this investment news and investment group that's taken over, I alluded to the fact that there was some question marks over who's going to be taking over Man United, or who's going to be making this initial bid to the Glazers. And there was some talk of the elder brother of Sheikh Mansour being part of this new bid to buy Man United, and immediately that raised question marks over whether someone from the Mansour family, someone who's very closely linked to Man City, could they go and buy Man United? Could this be an issue? Could there be some problems with getting approval of this takeover if he is someone who is closely linked to Man City? It could be. I mean, no doubt there'll be some, regulations, some restrictions on someone very closely linked to Man City to come in and buying the entirety of Man United. I don't think that would go down well, as I don't think many fans will be too impressed. However, if he makes up a group of other investors and he has maybe, say, a 5% share or 10% share, and he's not the main man behind the entire takeover, I don't think there'll be a problem. Now, the other people in the last day or so, in the last 24 hours, we've got some other breaking news, and it's to do with this consortium approaching David Beckham and Wayne Rooney. There's talks over this consortium actually approaching David Beckham. There's been a number of people who've reported this, and it's all over social media, but David Beckham is said to be open to leading the UAE consortium planning Man United takeover. Now, hello, David. Yeah, King Eric, mate. King Eric, of course, always, mate. King Eric. Those of us who know, we know. Those of you who know King Eric, you know what he brings to the table. It's exciting times when anyone mentions him. And then David Beckham has been also mentioned as part of part of this consortium that are seeking to bring on these ex-United legends to advise and maneuver a takeover of United. Again, if this happens, this is massive news. And I was saying it earlier today, because David Beckham is not just an ex-Man United player. He is a lot more than just an ex-Man United player. He has so much clout in the business world. He is a wealthy man in his own right. He's obviously got Miami out there in the United States running that club, knows exactly how to run clubs, knows exactly how to take over, go into these meetings. So him being brought on to advise and taking some kind of role within the takeover is fantastic news for Man United fans, because you know you're in safe hands when Eric Cantona and David Beckham walk in and they're advising and they're going to lead any takeover. And I think it makes it easier for anyone who's looking at selling the shares. So if the Glazers are selling and if you're trying to seek any kind of approval, if you've got David Beckham heading any kind, Sir David Beckham, by the way, if he's heading any kind of takeover, it looks good. It looks good. It gives you more credence as a company coming in to take over. Because the last thing you want is some random investment group to come in and say, right, we're taking over United. But you don't know anybody. Even the people that we were discussing who might be involved in taking over in UAE, the guy who's related to Sheikh Mansour, his elder brother, I can't remember his name now, Antani or something, I can't remember, but I'll bring it up in a bit if I can. We don't know him. We don't know this guy. We don't know him from Adam. So he could be anyone. He might not have the right intentions for Man United. He might not be someone. He might be someone that we go and have and bring in. And then he might be someone that he actually screws things up. He might be someone just like the Glazers. He might be someone who comes in and says, I don't really care for Man United. I just want to make money from them. And you're back in square one again. So you're jumping out of the pot into the kettle, really, or out of the kettle into the pot. How much do you think they will bid, mate? Martin, thank you for the comment, Martin. Well, the rumour going around is that the Glazers want nothing less than $5 billion. The current market value stands around $3 billion. But we all know that was the reason why Sheikh Yassim walked away from making an official bid back in 2023. Because he didn't believe that the Glazers deserved to walk away with $5 billion plus when the market value wasn't equivalent to that. So his representatives approached the Glazers and said, yeah, we're willing to make a bid, but we're not making a bid in excess of what the market value is. Yeah, maybe a few more million, but not at 2 to 3 billion more than what the market value is. That just doesn't make sense to us. So that was the line coming out of Qataris saying, you're not going to pull our pants down. We're not going to make a bid for such an amount when it's not worth that much. The club's not worth that much in the market value. You've got to remember, Man United is a listed company, so it's quite easy to find out what valuation Man United is. You can just go on to the stock market and simply look at the share price and calculate how much Man United is worth on that given day. However, we all know that the Glazers want a massive payday, and they're not going to let go of United until they get that massive payday. These guys, these parasites that have jumped onto United and have not let go since they took over, have got no interest in making United a successful club. All they really want is to take their money and have lots more money. So they're seeing this as a final payday. They've tried other ventures. They've tried to take Man United down the Super League route. They've tried to bring in money elsewhere where they can then start making money out of Man United. But since Jim Ratcliffe took over his percent of United, obviously there was some kind of agreement where they would not take dividends until Man United went clear and was out of debt, which is a long shot. Sanders says, how Dalot starting every single game ahead of Dogu. He's a number 2 and right-footed. How's that possible? Every time I see Dalot starting, Dogu sitting on the bench, immediately I lose interest of the watch. Yeah, I discussed this in my earlier show. I don't want to go off on one again on Dalot on this takeover update. But yeah, Dalot, a lot of fans feel the same way. But look, I think Amrin really hasn't got a choice. I think he needs to bring in someone else who can replace Dalot. Martin says, and Mark Goldbridge thinks the Glazers could be at Manchester United forever. That's a nightmare, though. Look, do you know what? It could be. It could be the case. It could be that we are stuck with the Glazers forever. We're stuck with the Glazers forever. But then something tells me that they want their money. They want their money. I looking between the lines, reading everything that I'm reading, seeing what the Glazers have been looking for. There's one thing that I think really sets the Glazers apart, which is that they've always cared about making money. That's been the end line, and nothing beyond that concerns them. All they care about is making money. So even when United were doing poor on the pitch, and we saw the times where we were just going from manager to manager and we were struggling, and they didn't care. They had Woodward in place doing all the negotiations, bringing in random players at the end of every transfer window when we really didn't need that player. We'd just bring him in and it'd be like, whoa, we've bought a marquee signing, and there you go, shut up, all you fans now, shut up, sit back, we've made a marquee signing, and that's all you needed. And that's what the Glazers approached United like. They didn't really care. They were never. How many times have you heard the Glazers come out and give a press conference about Man United, about how they want Man United to succeed on the pitch and how they really want to see United go back to the glory days? How many times? I've never heard them. I've never heard them come out and say that. And so they've got no interest in United as a club. All they really want is money. But since Jim Ratcliffe came on board and they've entered into financial difficulty before, obviously, Jim Ratcliffe rescued them, they were taking dividends out of the club. We've got to remember this. They were taking dividends in the region of about 40 to 50 million pounds each year. No matter what was going on the pitch, no matter how much United were struggling, no matter how much debt had been piled on by the Glazers on United, the Glazers were still taking dividends, which is crazy. Every year, each year, they were coming to United, no matter what was going on, they'd be like, oh, you've made this much revenue, we'll take our 40 million cut, we'll live off that, we'll chill, we're having a brilliant time. This is a golden goose laying the golden egg, and it's not failing us. However, in recent years, they've not been getting that golden egg. United hasn't been giving that golden egg to them, and they've not been able to get their hands on it. So now they're probably thinking, behind closed doors, they're probably thinking, wait up, we've got around about £5 billion, given what they're valuing United at. So we've got £5 billion to make of United. We could put the club up and we could walk away with £5 billion. And I think that's what's playing on their heads right now. In their minds, they're thinking, we've got £5 billion stuck in this place. We've got £5 billion stuck in this place. We could walk away today with £5 billion. That's a lot of money. We could take that money, plonk it on the stock market, and make enough money to live off. I mean, we could make millions by doing nothing, by just simply taking the 5 billion and reinvesting it into other ventures on shares or in other companies, and we'll make millions back. So I think that's where we've got to start thinking like the Glazers. So if I'm thinking like the Glazers, I'm thinking, okay, if I put myself in the shoes of the Glazers, what would the Glazers be thinking right now? Yes, United is a massive club. Yes, it could be worth in the region of 8 and 10 billion pounds in the future. But we're old men. Do we want to hang on until then? Or do we want to take this money right now and have our cake right now? And I think that's what you've got to start thinking. These guys, the Glazers, we've got to be optimistic, Martin. We've got to be optimistic. Otherwise, if I start going down the the thought process of Goldbridge and what he's saying about the Glazers not ever leaving, it just fills me with dread. And it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare for almost every Man United fan, because we know that until we actually don't get rid of the Glazers, we can't really enjoy Man United like we used to. You know, like you 100% used to be committed to the club and nothing other than the club. But now you love the club, you love the players, you love the manager, you love everything. But the owners, you're like, I don't care for the owners. I don't want these owners here. They've not done anything good for us. We are surviving just because of what we are as a club. We are Man United with billions of fans around the world. That's what's keeping us afloat, not the owners. If it was down to the owners, they would have bankrupted us already. And they were on the verge of bankrupting us until Jim Ratcliffe flipping walked in and thought, right, I'll give these guys a lifeline. What he should have done, Jim Ratcliffe, and it would have been, this is why I'm not too pleased with Jim Ratcliffe as well. I'm not keen on Jim Ratcliffe, because if he was the guy he says he is, he should have come in and said, I'm taking everything. I'm taking you guys over. Hand over the club. Piss off. That's sorry, but that's my take on it. I mean, if you disagree, let me know. But that's my opinion. I would have loved for him to come in and say, yes, I want to take over the entirety of United. It's a full sale or nothing. You guys are on the verge of bankruptcy. I'm not going to rescue you. You know, what Man United fan would say, you guys, I'm here to rescue you. You stay here. You stay here. If I put Paul out right now, and I put a question out to everybody out there who's watching right now, and I say to you guys, if you had £5 billion to spare, and you were multi-billionaires, we can all dream, right? Okay, but if you guys, and you were looking to buy Man United, would you come in and say to the Glazers, I'll keep you here, and I'll only, I'll give you an investment. I'll give you an investment, and I'll take over, 28% or something of the club, and then the rest you can keep. I don't think there's many Man United fans out there who would say, yeah, I'll do that. If you had the money to spend, you'd come in and just simply say, get the hell out of my club. Get the hell out. And you'd buy them out and get them out. So Dave says the Glazers are not going to shell out 2 billion on a new stadium. Absolutely. This is my point. This is what I've been saying. This is what I've been reading between the lines. And I'm thinking, nah, something's going on. Something's going on. Number one, there's no smoke without fire. So yes, the Glazers haven't confirmed that there's negotiations taking place. But there is something happening. There is something happening. And this group of investors out in the UAE, they're not simply someone who... They're not a group who don't know the Glazers. They're actually really familiar with them. They're actually good friends. They've actually known the Glazers for some time. Look, if you're a billionaire, you're going to be in the circle of other billionaires. You're going to hang around, you're in the same places, you're going to go to the same kind of events and stuff. And in this group, it was called the IHC Group, International Holding Group, which is the one of the groups also being rumored to being part of this takeover. Actually, there's an event that the Glazers were attending at the IHC event. And the Avram Glazer was there. So they know of each other. So it might be behind closed doors. They might have actually said to the Glazers, are you interested in selling United? The Glazers might have said, yeah, we are. How much are you willing to sell it for? The Glazers say, oh, we're looking for about 5 billion. So if you can get together 5 billion, we'll sell it. That billionaire must have gone back and said to his mates, okay, look, I've had a word with the Glazers and they want to sell for $5 billion. Shall we get $5 billion together and go and approach them? And they've all probably thought, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Yeah, okay, let's do it. And I think that's what's happened. And I think you're exactly right, Dave. I've said this a couple of times already, which is that we're on the verge of getting approval to build a new stadium next to Old Trafford. Right next to Old Trafford, there's a parking area, and of course there's lots of other land that's now, I think we're on the verge of completing the purchase of. I think the agreement has just gone in last week or something, where the freight company that was right next to Old Trafford, they're willing to sell their land to Ineos or Man United, and Man United will buy them out and then start building a new stadium on that land. But there's a big but here. The but is that United need to invest in the region of £2 billion for this new stadium. And if I'm looking at it, I think it's going to be a lot more than £2 billion. If we're going to build one of the biggest stadiums in England, and we're going to make it one of the best stadiums in Europe, if not the world, and it's going to be state of the art and everything else, I think it's going to be in the region. It's going to end up in the region of £3 billion plus pounds we're talking about here, to build this new stadium. Everyone goes over budget anyway, but I think it will be in that region. £3 billion. Will the Glazers pay £3 billion towards this rebuild? No, they won't. No chance in hell will they say, yes, we will fund this stadium. Right? Ineos. Will Ineos pay £3 billion or £2 billion plus, shall we say, at least, to build this stadium? No, they won't, because number one, they're minority owners, so why would they? Number two, he hasn't got the money. If he had the money, he would have already bought the Glazers out, right? He would have said, right, because he's had the opportunity. This is Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos. They had the opportunity just a few months ago. They had exclusivity to buy United off the Glazers, so they had it within the contract that Ineos could, after he bought his minority share, he could come back in a certain time period and buy the rest of the shares from the Glazers and call it a day. The Glazers could have walked away and he could have taken over the full ownership of United, but he never did that. For whatever reason, Ineos and Jim Ratcliffe didn't take that option up to buy United, and then it's now out of the exclusivity process or time period, and the Glazers can now sell to anybody they want. They can sell their own shares, and they can in fact force Jim Ratcliffe to sell his shares as well. Really important point. So if the new owners come in and say, we don't want Jim Ratcliffe here either, we don't want Jim Ratcliffe, the Glazers agree to sell their shares, then if they have to, they can force Jim Ratcliffe to sell his shares to the new investment group as well, and this investment group can take over the entirety of Man United. I'm not sure if they're going to do that, but this is a possibility. We've got to be alive to that fact. Now, Ibrahim says, when could we start hearing the Glazers sell? Well, look, it's a long process. It is a long process. Even when we had Jim Ratcliffe come on board, it took almost a year, I think, almost a year and a bit to have Jim Ratcliffe come in. And this was at a time when the Glazers had run out of money. They were in desperate need. They knew, everyone knew, behind closed doors, everyone was talking about United struggling financially, United not having the money to keep afloat, and the Glazers desperately needing to get some outside investment, if not to sell up and leave. But the Glazers were never going to just sell up for next to nothing, even though they would still make a record amount of profit, even if they sold at $3 billion. We've got to remember, the Glazers bought United at around about £570 million. Call it 600 million. That's 600 million. If they even got £3 billion in a sale of Man United, can you imagine the profit they'll walk away with? It's absolutely insane, absolutely insane. But they're the Glazers, and we know what the Glazers are. They're absolutely greedy, and they will make sure that they will get above $5 billion. So coming back to Martin saying how much, Martin, I genuinely think that I think that any price reached or agreement on valuation reached will be in excess of 5 billion, because we've heard it too many times for it to be fake news or just inaccurate. We've heard it too many times, this figure of 5 billion plus, 5 billion plus. And I think any investment company that is going to come in and looking to invest, I think they already know the ballpark figure. They already know that. Behind the scenes, they've already discussed that. I believe that they've already discussed what it will take to take over United and buy the Glazers share. And whoever comes in will have to pay a premium to the Glazers to get them out. Will this company do that? I think they will. And the reason being is, number one, we know that these investment groups out in the UAE and the Saudi, they've got money to spend. They've got money. If the right venture comes along, they will spend money. Even the Qataris, even Sheikh Yassim. The reason why he didn't want to overpay to United or to the Glazers was because he was saving that £2-3 billion to spend on United. So his approach was, look, I don't want to pay the Glazers the additional amount they're asking for, because I want to spend that on the club. Because I know that when I come in and buy this club, I'm not going to be the Glazers. I'm not going to even be Ineos. I'm going to come in and I'm going to put down a cool £1 billion to clear the debt. Then I'm going to put another £1 billion in infrastructure, reconstruction, whatever, or maybe even more to build a new Old Trafford. That's the thinking behind his offer, and that's why he was saying, I don't want to put this money down to the Glazers. I don't want to give this extra money to the Glazers when I can quite easily spend this money actually on the club once I've bought the club. So that was his planning behind it. And yeah, if you look at that approach, you'd be like, yeah, that's what all Man United fans want. We want an owner to come in who's got money to spare, not just simply spending everything he's got to buy the club and then being left with nothing to actually spend on the club. You do not want a takeover like that. You want a takeover where someone's coming in and actually buying the club, then having the funds to improve the club. That's the most important thing. I know most of you will agree with that as well. So coming back to Ibrahim, saying when will this process start, and when will we start getting further news on this? Look, it's a long process. It's not going to be a straightforward process. I think this is early stages. The early stages are where the investment group have a clear idea of taking over at United. If you're going to ask me, I think they already know. I think behind closed doors, they've already discussed the valuation and somewhat agreed, without obviously any paperwork. I think they've agreed a valuation with the Glazers. I can't see a scenario where they're putting together, they're approaching all these ex-Man United legends, and them not having a clue as to what the Glazers will want and accept as a final price for the takeover. So that's why I'm thinking, no, they're not stupid. They know what they're doing. They've already discussed with the Glazers. They know exactly what it's going to take to take over. But now they're putting the rest of the stuff in order. They're getting all the other pieces of the jigsaw in place. So they know, right, we can't be the face of this takeover. It can't be some random sheikh here or random person there. It's not going to work like that, okay? It's not going to work like that because it's... Look, IAC Group, let me just bring up this guy, this sheikh. Some of you who probably saw it last time will know, who watched my last show, will know who I'm on about. Let me just bring him up. So it's this guy here, Sheikh... there we go. His Highness Sheikh Tanoon bin Zayed Al Nahyan. He is the brother of Sheikh Mansour, who owns Man City. See where this kind of a problem comes in, because he's the chairman of the investment. One of the investment companies that are looking to invest in Man United. That is a bit of a problem. I think they're not silly. They're not going to be silly. They're not going to simply put this guy in front of the whole takeover and say it's him and him alone. Him and him alone who's gonna come in and take over at United. I don't think that's the case. He is the brother of Sheikh Mansour. I'm sure they know that will become a contentious issue if they went and tried to take over just him alone. I think he's going to be part of something. By the way, this guy is head of a portfolio of something like 770 billion pounds. A portfolio managing 770 billion pounds. United Glazers are asking for 5 billion. This guy's managing these numbers. I know they just go over your head because you're like, what? Like, that's crazy, right? You can't even imagine that kind of stuff, yeah. But that's what the kind of money we're talking about when we're looking at these investors coming in. And yeah, look, whatever your thought process is on who comes in, who's the new ownership of United, I don't care. I don't care as long as it's not the Glazers. I don't care. And I'm being frank with you here. Anyone can do a better job than the Glazers. That's my opinion. The only way is up. The only way is up. Even Jim Ratcliffe, having come in with and just put in whatever he's put in, about £200 million in investment in United. Even he's done better than the Glazers. Even him doing the very basics by bringing in better leadership in terms of the new CEO in Omar Brada, bringing in Jason Wilcox, bringing in the recruitment manager in Vivell, who was instrumental in bringing Benjamin Sesko to Man United. He's the one who's worked with Sesko previously at RB Leipzig. He's the one who pushed the United board to go and sign Sesko. And Sesko is going to be an absolute sensation. Once he starts kicking off and starts playing, he's going to be one hell of a player for United. He's got the basics to be a very, very good player at United. And the same thing with bringing in the likes of Kuna and Mbumo. These are not just flukes. These are because we've got new ownership. We've got new ownership who've then brought in people who know about football. And they've then now gone and brought the right signings, the right transfers. It makes a difference. And that's why these guys, the new UAE investment arm or company coming in and talking about David Beckham, talking about Wayne Rooney being part of this leadership group that's going to come in and make some kind of offer for United. It is, yeah, this is what I want. I want this. I want this to be the face of United. I want ex-Man United players, like we opened up with the show with Cantona and with Wayne Rooney. Wayne Rooney, actually, I've not mentioned Wayne Rooney, but he's been also being touted or being mentioned in the same thing as David Beckham. So apparently Wayne Rooney has also been approached. Again, I'm not quite sure. Will he be a good person to come on board and advise? Yeah, I think he would be. Again, I think Wayne Rooney is someone who's not going to be too fussed about, getting paid and making money. I think all these names being mentioned, they're just straight talking guys. They're straight talking guys. David Beckham, absolute legend. Lovely, lovely person. And I can't say a word negative about David Beckham. He absolutely brilliant. Same thing with Cantona. You know my feelings with Cantona. And Wayne Rooney, again, he's a simple kind of guy. Simple guy, doesn't really like the fame, doesn't like to go on and talk rubbish. He says it like it is. So if someone's reached out to him and said, we want you to be advising us as well, yeah, I like that. I think that now I just want it to be going a bit further. I want to see the process. I want to actually hear of a bid going in, because that is the crux of all of this. We can be talking here for days about, this person's looking to invest and this is going on and that's going on, and we're bringing on this legend player and that to advise. But until we do not get someone like the investment group actually making a bid, a concrete bid, we can't really get carried away. One thing is good, is that I'm hoping that we have some kind of confirmation from the Glazers. If a bid comes in, they will have to announce that publicly. Because of United being a listed company, the Glazers can't keep that a secret. They can't say, nothing's happening. Right now they can say that because there's nothing happening. They've actually not received a formal bid, even though they might have had informal discussions, behind closed doors. They might have had a discussion about what they would sell Man United for and whether they would actually sell United. That's the other thing. Many people question whether the Glazers even have intention to sell United, and that is the biggest question that everyone has, including myself and other Man United fans. We're all thinking, will the Glazers actually sell? Will they get to that point where they say, yes, we agree, give us the money, off we go? That's the question that everyone has currently. And we're all panicking because we've been there, seen that, done that. We know what we got led down this garden path before. We've been there. We are all suffering from the harm, the psychological harm the Glazers have done already on us all, and we're all in the same boat. And that's why when you're all joining me and we're all discussing this, and look, we all know that the Glazers have put us through the ringer, haven't they? They've put us through the bloody ringer, and we're all affected by it. And that's why we're not really getting carried away with these rumours, because we don't want to. Even I don't want. Even look, the only reason why I even do these takeover updates is because I know there's lots of fans and lots of people still wanting to know what's going on and what the next news is and what the potential is. All I can say is that, look, this is it's a process that is going to take time. Edwin, nice to hear from you. Yes, can I hear you? Yes, I can hear you. Oh, Edwin, thank you very much for that, Edwin. Thank you for your comment, and everyone who's joined and is just tuned in just now, please hit that like button. Apparently it helps the stream go out to lots more Man United fans. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button and join the club. Join the community. We are a lovely community of Man United fans, of course, wanting the best for United. And yeah, we just discuss things and we love everything about Man United. And if you're a Man United fan, I think it's obligatory to go and hit that subscribe button just to support a Man United fan channel. Anyway, guys, coming back to the takeover, because it's important news. I was discussing, what was I saying about the takeover? Yeah, the Glazers wanting to sell. Yes, we all don't want to get carried away with it. And I get that, even because I'm doing it. And I know lots of you watching are doing the same thing. You're hearing this news. You're hearing Sky News report that, Cantona's been approached. We're getting actually the Guardian newspaper confirming it. Now, if you're not from the UK, the Guardian is a reputable newspaper. They're not like the tabloid newspapers like the Sun or the Mail or whatever, where they just spew absolute crap. They just kind of get whatever and just turn it into a news story. No, the Guardian is a reputable newspaper in the UK, and if they've confirmed this story about Eric Cantona asked to front Manchester United takeover bid by UAE consortium, Rooney and Beckham also on the ambassadorial shortlist, group is seeking finance before approaching Glazers. That is what they're saying. So this is massive. So last week, our whole, discussions and if maybe not, is it true, is it not true? And then finally getting some confirmation that there is actually there's truth to this. It's not just made up by some crazy guy sat in Saudi Arabia who's heading all the boxing and he just thought he'll tweet something at middle of the night and just cause absolute chaos. It's actually true. So the Guardian reporting this, it gives it again a lot of credibility, and I've been waiting for this. If you've been watching my channel, I've been saying this for some time. I've been saying to you guys, I need some credible source to come out and say that this is happening. I need some credible source. I need a mainstream journalist to come out and confirm that there's something going on. And we got that on Friday with Ben Jacobs. And then now, in the last day or two, we've had Sky Sports and The Guardian now confirming what we have been discussing. That before it just sounded like a fairy tale about a UAE investment group coming together to buy United. And we were all thinking, oh, we've dreamt about this day for many, many years. We've dreamt about this. Look, I know one thing. If you're a Man United fan watching right now, you've dreamt about this. You've daydreamed about this. I mean, you have, surely, because I have. I've sat there many a times and thought, oh, what would it be like if someone came in and bought United and we actually had some money to spend? What would you do? What would you do? You dream about it all the bloody time. I do. I genuinely do. And that sounds crazy to you guys, but I sit there sometimes and I think, if I had the money, what would I do? What would I improve at United? Who would I go and buy? I think many United fans do that. Many football fans do that. You always dream about being either a manager of the club or the owner of the club, if not a player. But I think when you get to a certain age, you start thinking about being a manager of the club or owner of the club, because you're not young enough to play. But yeah, when you're young, obviously you dream about being a striker for United or a midfielder and being the best in the world and scoring the winning goal in a final of some kind. That you dream about that. But I think as you age, you start moving further away from playing for Man United to then becoming maybe the manager, and then as you get even older, I think you start dreaming about being the owner of Man United. I don't know, maybe that's just me thinking out loud, but drop your comments. Don't let me hang like this. Drop your comments, let me know if you think the same thing, or else I'll look like a right idiot just telling you this, and then you guys are all thinking, what's he on about? No one thinks that. No one thinks that they'd play for United, and no one thinks that they'd be the manager of United. But yeah, anyway, coming back to the manager situation, I do tomorrow I've got a live stream on career mode EAFC 26, so if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button so you can watch that. I'm taking Man United back to the brink of the Champions League and of course winning the Premier League. We're currently third in the league in my game, so we're doing pretty well in real life as well. We've got some easy fixtures coming ahead, so let's hope that United can actually, apart from Brighton, I think Brighton we play, and then after that the fixtures get slightly easy. But anyway, forget that. That's for another show. The takeover. So discussing the takeover and Eric Cantona being involved, and Rooney and Beckham being sounded out as well. This is not made up. This is not made up. The Guardian says Eric Cantona has been approached by a consortium of investors based in United Arab Emirates to act as an ambassador for a potential bid to buy Manchester United. Wayne Rooney and David Beckham are also on the group's radar for similar roles. The consortium is still being put together as it seeks finance to firm up its interest in buying the club before it can approach the 6 Glazer siblings, who collectively are United's majority owners. The UAE-based group is intent on having prominent former United players as ambassadors as part of this process. Cantona, who played for Man United between 1992 and 1997, scored 82 goals in 185 appearances and is considered one of the club's finest ever footballers. We've already discussed that. Rooney, who played for United in 2004 and 2017, he obviously, we don't need to discuss what he did. Again, top striker for Man United. And David Beckham also, who joined United in 1990. Well, he joined as a schoolboy and went on to win the treble in 1999 under Sir Alex Ferguson. Now, the Glazers served notice. So this is important. So this is what the Guardian goes on about. So it says the Glazers served notice that part or all of the club was potentially for sale in November 2022. So if you think back to when we got the news and it was announced on the club website that they're going to look for strategic investment opportunities, the Glazers said that they didn't say we're looking to sell Man United, because that would have been too straightforward, and I mean that would have really set the party going, but it didn't actually happen like that. They left themselves ambiguous because they didn't want to get cornered into selling Man United. So they knew, what if someone like Jim Ratcliffe turns up and gives them everything and lets them eat their cake as well. And that's exactly what happened. Jim Ratcliffe came in knight in shining armor and helped them out. Let's not be confused about that situation. Jim Ratcliffe had the opportunity to come in and buy United out, but he didn't. He actually came in and rescued the Glazers. allowed them to stay on when really they had their limited options. In fact, the Glazers in 2022, when they announced this potential sale or investment, they were expecting literally there to be an absolute load of investors coming in, outbidding each other, trying to buy Man United. But that didn't happen. In fact, it was an eerie silence. There was no one coming to the table. Why? Why did no one come to the table? Why was no one interested in buying United? Why were there not lines of investors looking to buy Man United? Well, one of the reasons is that most investors don't look to football clubs as a profitable investment. That's the end line. I mean, if you're an investor and you've got this much money, there's lots of other ventures that you can put your money into, which are less stressful, which are less forward facing. You're not in the public eye, and you can make a lot more money. So buying a football club is more to do with just wanting to see that club become successful, or other deeper reasons. Maybe you're a fan of the club, like Jim Ratcliffe was supposedly. So that's them are the reasons why owners want to buy United. Or like the Glazers, there was an opportunity to make a leverage buyout, and they took that opportunity and knew that they're going to sit on this club. They're not going to invest anything. All they're going to do is wait and profit from the club, and that's exactly how it worked out. So that's why there wasn't many people coming in at that time looking to buy United. So they got snookered, essentially. The Glazers put the club up for sale. 11 months later, Sheikh Yassim withdrew from the process due to the Glazers' valuation of United being at more than $6 billion. Whether Sheikh Yassim would consider reviving his interest is unclear. Now, this alludes to the fact that I opened this show up saying the Sheikh Al Thani, the guy who brought the news from Saudi Arabia, he put a tweet out last night saying, "Where are you, Sheikh Yassim?" ? Almost, saying, look, there's a group of UAE investors who are going to take over United. Are you going to make a counter offer? Are you going to come back to the table? They want some kind of bidding war to take place. The Glazers definitely do. The Glazers want there to be a number of investors who are going to start outbidding each other. And obviously, if you're a billionaire and you've come to the table, if you enter the race to buy United, you're not going to give up. You're not going to make an offer and then simply sit back and say, "I'll let someone else buy United." No. It's more than just simply, buying United. This is all about keeping face. This is for billionaires. Look, they've got to that stage and they've made that money not by simply being nice guys. They're psychopaths. They actually make this money. They care about themselves more than anything else, and they care about reputation and things like that. So if someone else joins the race, they're going to try and outbid each other. But let's hope that it's just this UAE group of investment companies that come in to buy United. I think it can happen, and I think the approval would be given. I think if it's made up of several different investment groups and it's headed up by these ex-United players like David Beckham, Cantona, and they've got other advisors on board, I think this is a serious possibility. The talk of Sheikh Yassim coming back to the table, I can't see that happening. I can't. I think he moved away. Like we said, the Glazers at that time wanted a lot more. The figure here quoted is $6 billion. I said over $5 billion. There was rumours swirling around at the time that they wanted something in the region of $8 billion, because that's what they thought United would be valued in the future. But you can't sell something on its future value. You can't say, "I want to sell you this at double the price because in the future it'll be double the price." It doesn't work like that. If it's valued currently at a certain price, you're not going to be expected to get any more from it. And especially if Man United is listed on the is listed on the stock market like it is, and it's quite easy to find out what its current valuation is. You just go and check what the share price is. And since this news broke about 2 weeks ago, steadily the share price of Man United has been increasing. Day by day, it's been going up and up and up. Last time I checked, it was at $18. It might have gone down, it might have come back up again. But it's a lot higher than what it was when we first started, when the first tweet was put out there. I think it was at $14 or $13 a share. So that's increased. But like I say, any formal bid that comes in to the Glazers, we will all hear about it. So do not worry. Do not feel that you're going to miss out on the news, because we'll hear about it, because the Glazers will have to announce it publicly that a bid has been received. Because it's a publicly listed company, they would have to let the shareholders know that there's an offer on the table for their shares. That's how it works. But the Glazers are masters at keeping things quiet. They're very good at keeping everything hush-hush and not letting anybody know about what's going on. Now, if you're joining us, just quickly, guys, those of you that are here, please hit that like button. It helps the stream get some more traction, get some more viewers. And I'm trying to grow the channel to at least 10,000 subscribers. I mean, that's an easy target, surely. I mean, there's people out there who do all sorts, and they've got more than 10,000 subscribers. And I'm giving a good service. I think we work hard at this channel. We work hard. And those of you who are not subscribers to the channel, please hit that subscribe button as well. We bring you daily shows, sometimes live streams like this, and if not, we bring you shows, recorded shows about Man United, what's going on, daily news, transfers, everything is brought to you as and when we get it. So yeah, just hit that subscribe button. Anyway, so let's finish off the show with some positivity. First of all, thank you to everybody who's been commenting, everyone who's hit the like button, everyone who's joined in the debate. And yeah, fingers crossed. Day by day, we're getting positive news. We're getting positive news day by day. And reading that article from The Guardian has filled me with a lot of confidence. It's filled me with some hope. And I'm hoping that this is it. This is the time. If it's now or never in our lifetime, I think this is where we can say this is an opportunity where we can see the back of the Glazers and we can have some ownership come in and actually make a difference. And I think, like Dave said earlier, look, these guys, Glazers we're talking about, are they really going to invest that much money into the club? Let's look at the track record. How much money do you think the Glazers have invested of their own personal funds into Man United? How much they've been here owners over 10 years of United? How much money do you think they've put in to United since owning Man United? I'll give you a clue. It's zero. That's what it is. There's no clue in that, right? Okay, it's zero. They've not once put any of their own personal funds into Man United. That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. So when you see those fans protesting about the Glazers, they're doing it because they can see that the Glazers have done nothing for United. They've not done anything. You can see that there's owners around the Premier League that come in, buy the clubs, and they put their money where their mouth is. We don't have to go far. We can just go across the city and see what Sheikh Mansour's done for Man City. What he's done in not only transforming the side and the players and what's going on the pitch, but what he's done off the pitch as well. And the same applies to other clubs. Other clubs like Chelsea, look what he's done. Look at the new owner who came in at the time where Jim Ratcliffe actually tried to buy Chelsea at the same time, but he was too late to buy Chelsea, and luckily for him, a few months later, Man United came on sale, and he bought Man United. And many people question how a Man United fan could go and try and buy Chelsea, but look, let's let that be for now. We're discussing the Glazers. So look, the Glazers have not put any money into United. They've all the money that, do you know when people rival fans say, oh, but the Glazers are really good, look how much money they've invested in buying players and blah. That's such a smokescreen. It's a smokescreen, and the reason being is because the money that United have spent buying players is the money that United have generated in revenue. It's United's money. It's what the players, it's what the fans are buying and paying for season tickets and buying seats at the stadium, buying their kits, doing that, all the commercial deals, everything else, all the money that United make in revenue, like we just have just this announced about a month ago, our record revenue for this year. Again, that was the money that the Glazers were then using to go and buy new players, and actually we're taking money out in dividends. That's the crux of it. That's where we've got to become alive to the situation. The Glazers have never actually spent any of their own money in United, in improving United. So I can't see a day when the Glazers will turn up and say, yes, we will invest in the new stadium at United. I can't see that happening. And I think they're looking at it thinking, shit, there's going to come a time where we're going to be back in the limelight. We're going to be back in the limelight as majority owners of Man United, and we're going to be asked to fund this new rebuild of the stadium. And I think that's why they want out. That is my take on it. I know some people might agree with that, some people might not. Then some people might believe that the Glazers will never want to sell. Some people will have other reasons for why you feel the Glazers want to sell. But we've got to be optimistic. We've got to look for that light at the end of the tunnel. Otherwise, there's no hope left, is there? So we've got to be optimistic. We've got to believe that this UAE group know what they're doing, have already sounded out the Glazers, and are now putting the final pieces together to come forward and take over United, and to seriously provide us with funds that we're in desperate need of. We're in desperate need of these funds, and we need our debt cleared, and we need to start looking and start. Right now, we're fighting against all these other clubs in the Premier League with our hands tied behind our backs. We can't compete against the Liverpools and the Arsenals and Cities for longer. I mean, we are still fighting. We're still going to and doing a good job, but we have got our hands tied behind our backs because we haven't got the funds to go out there and really get the players that we need, really improve this squad and have even a decent squad. I mean, around us, we need at least 2 top world-class players for each position. That's what leads you to the Champions League and leads you to the Premier League. You need players, and good players even on the bench. That's what you need. And we have to get rid of the debt. This debt is crumbling this club. It is actually sucking us. And we need to... We're drowning under debt. And if you look across all the other Premier League clubs, they've got nowhere near the same debt as Man United. We're in debt of over £1 billion in debt. That is crazy. Absolute crazy. And anyone who's coming in to buy the club will be fully aware that they have to bring that to zero, or they have to take on that debt. So when they're coming in and buying Man United for $5 billion, technically they're buying United for $6 billion. And if they're buying United for $6 billion, they're technically buying United for $7 billion, because the moment they walk in as owners, they're also taking on the debt that the club has got, and that's in excess of £1.2 billion. Anyway, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe. I hope you enjoyed the show. I will, of course, endeavour to bring you another update show as and when we get any further updates on this. I'm watching everything like a hawk. I'm keeping on top of everything, hoping that we get some concrete news on a bid going in. But it's a matter of time. I'm hoping it happens anytime soon. Make sure you hit the like, guys. It was the Man United stream, a channel by the fans for the fans. Goodbye.